What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio, and sitting down with a friend of mine, a real hard charger, a go-getter, an author, an entrepreneur, my friend RaNae RA. What's going on, RaNae? How you doing?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Good, good. We've been talking about doing this for a little while, and we're here doing it.
Yes.
So, like I was telling you, you got a interesting story, got a real positive energy about you.
Thank you.
You've come up with some goals, you crush them, and then you come up with more goals. But usually when I have somebody on for the first time, I like to get a little bit of a background to them. So, like, originally, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Wow, I don't know exactly. I just knew that I wanted to be a woman that wore high heel shoes and wore pretty clothes.
So like a princess, kind of.
Yeah, or like a businesswoman that, was in the city and keeping it busy, That's what I envisioned. I remember just being like 14 years old and just pretending to be wearing high heels and what it'd be like, to match the skirt with the top and everything like that and look very sophisticated. And so that was pretty much, my goal.
And then, so when you had that vision for yourself, like at 14, like, what did you like put ahead? Like you were in high school around then, or
yes.
Mm-hmm. So like
what pre-high school?
Yeah, like junior high.
Still junior high.
Okay.
And then I went to high school and I was graduating, and the first thing that I did was I got my real estate license. So at the age of 18, I had my real estate license because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to wear nice things, nice clothes, and to be someone that, my family was pretty big into real estate. My father flipped houses and always had a rental property. So I knew real estate was the way to create wealth. And that's what I didn't really want to be famous at all. I just wanted to have a financial situation where, I didn't have to worry and was very to do.
So 18, right out of high school, get your real estate license, start doing that for a little bit. And then what other ways did you expand? And
so then I feel like I was drafted to the war, but it wasn't the war. I got the dreaded call from my father, come over, I need you to fill out a form. And I got there and I said, what's this for? And he said, well, my employer is hiring. And I was all like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to wear, my pretty clothes, my pretty dresses, and be a girl, be a woman. And he's like enticing me with the benefits and the paid vacation and telling me like, with real estate, you don't have all these benefits. You don't, get to have paid vacations or your dental and health care paid for. And that you'll never have a pension with real estate. And so I was like, he's right. So it's like, well, fill out this form. They're only hiring 400 people and they're picking out of, at that time, I want to say maybe 5,000 people because every employee at Ford Motor Company had gotten this, what's called a lottery chance. And you put one person's name in and then it goes into a barrel and then they picked 400. So my name was picked. And so when my name was picked, it was like the draft. It was like, you got to go. And it was like, no matter. And then it was like, you got to go. And no matter how hard it is, you can't quit. Like, just no matter what, like the pain, I started in the iron foundry, which was the Cleveland casting plant. It's no longer with us. And it was what the Plain Dealer, our local newspaper, had called Hell's Personal Bakery. So for being like a 20-year-old girl who had dreams and aspirations of being very sophisticated, and having nice clothes and to be a prominent woman, to go to, what a local newspaper is calling Hell's Personal Bakery, There was fire and just, everybody was dirty and working hard, and everybody wore coveralls and steel-toe boots. So it was the furthest away, but
Were you able to bedazzle your coveralls or anything like that?
We did not bedazzle. I just wore a wife beater underneath, and just did the best I could. But there was definitely women that I that actually I looked up to, because they're wearing, coveralls and steel-toe boots and gloves and hat and goggles, and they still have their red lipstick on. And I was just like, I remember just looking at this one lady like, wow, she has her lipstick on. If she can do it, I can do it.
So looking like Rosie the Riveter.
She
or whatever.
really, yes.
Badass.
And I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it.
And then so then that opened the door. Like what you said, you were like 20 years old. Kind of left real estate and focused mainly on working in Ford.
Yes, working in the auto industry. Yeah, and being a union member and learning, so much about the union. But aside from that, the whole motto of the auto industry is, I am my brother and sister's keeper. And that we all have a responsibility and a duty to make sure that our self and our brother or sister in the union get to go home to their family every day the way that they came into the plant. And that culture, as tough as it could be, and there was some really tough, bad apples in that culture, but the principle is what America needs so much right now, that spirit of brotherness.
It's very, sounds very much like military,
right.
Like everybody has each other's six, wants to make sure everybody makes it home safe, hardworking environment, dangerous environment.
Yes.
But, I was thinking like, a lot of families, they kind of get you into the family, following the family footsteps. They kind of decide your, I guess, quote unquote fate going forward. A lot of people are, oh man, that's great. You're working for Ford, that you can get a retirement. That's the rest of your life. But you still had a calling to do more, and you listen to that voice and kind of chase that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about when that started, like how long you were there at Ford, when all of a sudden you were like, I feel like I'm meant for more. And
yes. So like I said, I started, at the bottom it's a seniority shop. So I was definitely, it takes you about 5 years to even really have any kind of seniority to start to navigate to a better job, right? So the bottom of the bottom is you're going to be chipping blocks. And then, there's other jobs that are opening up, but you need to have at least 5 years. And so in 2005, I had made a move because I had also, in between from 1999 to 2005, I also did work in the engine plants. And then I went back to the iron foundry before anyone else wanted to. And I remember being ridiculed for that by the building chairman at the time. And he had said, why are you going to the foundry? Like, it's hell. Like, nobody wants to go to the foundry. Once you get out, like, nobody wants to go back.
Yeah.
And I said to him, oh, I'm going. And I'll be back. And when I come back after going there, I'll be back with a high-low license, which is a better job. It's a more, instead of being tied to the line, or what some of us would call actually the chain gang, because in the foundry, the blocks, they you would hang them onto a chain, and it would go, the block from the melt department would go on a chain and on a hook, and then it would go out to what's called an airport gallery, where it would cool off until it was able to come back to where a technician would be able to be around it. And then the knockout house would knock the chain off, knock the block off the chain. You have to hit it with a sledgehammer at the exact right spot. My uncle did that for 35 years.
Wow.
Right. And then it would come down to the coolers and it would get shaken. And then there was guys there that would put it in a rack. So
you basically went back to, that field or that area, even though everybody was like, what are you doing coming back here? But you had to embrace the suck for a little bit so you can get that promotion.
Amen. Right? We do what's hard until it gets easy, right?
And that was like, now what was that? I forget what you called it, the what you were working towards to get the qualification or certification?
Yeah, it was a high-low license to go into material planning and logistics.
Okay, and so you had to do that that was a part of getting that license, going back to that area?
Well, no, it's just I knew that if nobody wanted to go to the plant that sucks, that the person that did get the prize, right? So I think there's a quote that says the cave, how's it go? The cave you're afraid to enter holds the treasure that you seek.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. So I had to go back to the suck, and I just knew that more opportunities would be there because no one else wanted to go. So I went. I remember going in like June, and by that December, I had my high-low license. I was in material planning and logistics. And so that gives you, more, you're not working as hard. The machine is working for you.
Okay.
And, it's more, you could make a little bit of like, you could run to the bathroom whenever you want. And that's important to me. I know.
Should be important to anybody.
You have no clue. Like some people have no clue. Like when you're in situations like that, like, it's 8 hours and, it's like, well, geez, how many times do I go potty? You know what I mean? Like you want to be on a job where you can just go whenever you want. Right.
Yeah.
But it's not always the opportunity to be on those types of jobs. So like I said, 2005, I received my MPNL classification, which also gave me a little more per hour, just, peanuts, but still more, right? And at that point, then I knew I was at the top of what the auto industry has to offer to an average person. If I wanted to advance any further, I was going to have to go to college, right? Get a degree, and they would have to be in either labor relations or management, and then I could go up further within the auto industry. But I started to go back to school, and I just used education money that the auto industry the union had negotiated with the employers, and I started to realize, wait a minute. Okay, if I go to college part-time, it's going to take me 8 years to get a degree that I'm going to start at the bottom. And I don't want to start at the bottom again, right?
Yeah.
If anything, if I'm going to spend my time towards anything, it's going to be something that's going to be to create wealth and to put me in a better position than what I already was, right? We're not going to go backwards. You got to keep moving forward, right? So I just chose a couple like marketing classes and internet marketing classes and interior design. It's local colleges in Cleveland, Ohio, 2 of them. And then I had an opportunity arise to me to learn business, internet business, that someone had came up to me and said to me, RaNae, my ex-brother-in-law is a millionaire down in Marco Island, Florida, and he's coming up and he's going to show us this new internet business at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. Can you be there at a condo homeowners association room? And I was like, yeah, I'll be there. Like internet, like that's the future, right?
Yeah.
And this was actually 2008. And we were being forced to, with the decision, or not really the decision, but more of the unknown of what was going to happen in the auto industry. So the iron foundry was slated by our employer to, and the powers that be, to close the iron foundry in Cleveland, which was the last gray iron foundry in America, and move operations to Mexico. So then I was like, well, I have to prepare fast.
Yeah.
And I don't have 4 years, and I don't have 8 years. I may only have 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, I have to find my next it.
Gotta get plan B going.
Right. I got to get
And
plan
C and D.
B go. Exactly. I was all like, what? Okay. Yeah, I'll be there. Millionaire, Margaret Island. I'm coming. Right. Put my name on the list. And I remember going, and she was asked me what I thought about it. And I was like, well, I'm in. I don't understand it all, but I'm in. Like, whatever. It was an internet business. And at the time, it only had about 2,500 products, and it was a different name. And I was just like, okay, well, I know nothing about business, but one of these product lines that this company has is makeup. And that's one thing
that you know.
I know. And my best friend, actually, she was my best friend since I was 14, since I was dressing up and wishing to be a sophisticated, prosperous woman. And she and I used to play, makeover, right? And she'd do my hair and she'd do my makeup. And then she'd take pictures of me in like a dress that my mom had just bought. And she ended up going into the makeup industry. And she made a career out of it. For 23 years, she worked with Lancome Cosmetics. And so she was like the makeup professional. So I remember being like, well, I could always recruit Jenny, and she'll be my business partner, and she'll know more than me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And not only that, but that's an easy sell. Like, every woman, they want to feel more beautiful. And the person that's willing to love on another human and bring out the best of them out and have them show themselves like the most beautiful version of themselves that they could see, that was my drive. That was my hope. And it didn't matter about the money. It was like, that's what I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And so I just started doing makeup, and, I went and got certified, of course, with Motives Cosmetics. And I just started to go do makeup. And I remember I had a friend, and he had high school girlfriends coming in from out of town. And he asked me if I would come and do their makeup. And I said, absolutely. And he would pay me and everything. I said, absolutely. That'd be like so great. And he goes, and if you could go out with us too, because we're older and I don't know where to take them. And they're coming in to Cleveland, and one's coming from Virginia and the other one's coming from California. And they're both life coaches.
Oh, cool.
And I had never even heard of a life coach at that point, right? Because this is probably 2009, 2010, right? And I'm like, life coaches. I'm like, wow, that sounds exciting, right? So I do their makeup and gave them facials, right, prior to doing their makeup, because I just want to give, right? I just want to love people. And so I do their makeup, and we're all going to go out, and I'll just remember them. I remember them saying, the one especially who was a life coach from California, and she actually now owns a spa in California. She said to me, she just offered me this little opportunity, whether I ever took it or not. And that was enough love and belief in myself that I was like, okay, that's my next goal. And so the little goal that she gave me, she said, I know you're good at this makeup. And if you start to get together a portfolio of you doing, makeup that you did, and you get good enough and you come and visit me in California, and I'm going to give you free room and board. And you and I are going to take that portfolio of your work, and we're going to knock on the doors of Hollywood, and we're going to knock on them until someone opens the door. And my husband just so happens is a videographer in California. And we're going to, so I know the doors to knock on. We're going to knock on those doors. And maybe you're going to be Lady Gaga's makeup artist and travel the world with her. Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, okay, I'll do it. Right. And then that was my next goal. So then I started, I went to some kind of fashion show in Cleveland with students from Virginia Marty College of Art and Design. And I remember saying, I'm a makeup artist. And right now I'm just trying to build my portfolio, and I'll do makeup for you in exchange for the pictures of the work.
Nice.
And a fashion designer said to me, oh my gosh, yeah, will you do my fashion show here in Cleveland? And I was like, absolutely. So I did that. And then someone else told me I should call get in touch with the cosmetology schools and go in and teach for a day and just tell them like what it's about, being a makeup artist, and talk to them about cosmetics. And then I did that. And then I told all the kids, if they're interested, to contact me. And one of them did. And he somehow put an email out and made some contacts in New York City with the Bravo channel and with these, kind of like a Jersey Shore knockoff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And next thing you know, he's asking me, like, they nicknamed me like Makeup Mom, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, Makeup Mom, can we go to New York and do Fashion Week in New York City, right? And I'm all like, oh my God, kid, yeah, we can. Like, let's go make your dreams come true, right? And so I did that, and then
and the whole time you were still technically an employee of Ford too.
Still at Ford Motor Company, right? Like literally, I was running into people out, at certain places, just like Panini's, grabbing something to eat, and some customer would be like, "Oh my gosh, my girlfriend, Barb, told me you were a makeup artist in New York City." Like, and I said, Ford's RaNae, like, like she works so hard and dirty, like she's a makeup artist in New York. And they were like, yeah. And then he's like, and she pulled out pictures that she showed me.
Pictures you hadn't even seen.
Right. They were on my internet, they were on my Facebook. And I was like, oh yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he said, how? Like, he was so astonished.
Like, how did you get out?
How? And I'll never forget. I remember I said to him, I go, that's the thing. I don't even know how. I just keep following God, and I just tell him, like, just keep leading me.
And networking, the power of networking.
The power of networking.
Just being willing and
exactly.
Being available.
And that's the whole thing, is that you'll also you'll notice that when you start to go into different industries, everybody's so, especially in business, so many people are just about the money and just about the profit, and they don't want to give. They just want to take, right?
Yeah.
So if you're the unique one who's out there giving, because think about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't just out there hustling because I had to make that next dollar. No, I had a $100,000, career sitting, just sitting there, like, that I would this was my free time.
Yeah.
So in my free time, I'm going to build my legacy. I'm going to build my future. I'm going to spend my time doing what matters. And, it just opened doors.
Yeah. Doors just kept opening for you. You're
Exactly.
willing to give, and, it's like that flow state they talk about, you give and then open to receive.
Absolutely. And it's so true. And it is, even like, wow, how did that happen? It's like, wow, it just.
So that doors open in New York, doors open in California through makeup and stuff. But then I know you've gotten involved in other projects as well, like
Nutraceuticals and things.
Yeah,
right.
how did you start getting into that stuff too?
Then then 2010 happened, which changed things actually for the better. 2010, the company that I had went with and was actually a business owner with and an unfranchised owner with, our collective buying power of the company paid $600 million to the powers that be, Mr. Gates at that time, $600 million to buy shop.com. And shop.com was all the stores. So think of the movie and the book Confessions of a Shopaholic, right? So now I can do whatever else I want to do, right? I now have 3,000 stores on my business.
So like inside shop.com, like the makeup part was one store inside the shop, right? And then,
well, it was actually an exclusive brand of the company.
Okay.
So the company had 13 multi-billion-dollar industries that they had their own exclusive brands of products. And that's what they had. And then they introduced shop.com and blended the two. They, converged both of the companies, combined them. And shop.com element was the stores, and the stores were already negotiated with the powers that be, Mr. Gates, and to pay customers cash back and to pay a small percentage to whoever brought the customer. And that's how it started to work. So then when it integrated it together, so then the 3,000 stores, such as Target, Travelocity, anything you can think of, they paid the cash back. Then they could use that cash back towards any of the products, like makeup line. So now with your shopping you already are doing, now I can even show you a way to get the makeup for free.
Okay.
So why wouldn't I want to go into your makeup for free? When I can, if I go and I do your makeup right now, think of it like this. If I just had the thought to just be a freelance makeup artist and I'm a hustler and I'm just trying to get that next dollar, right? That mentality, I would go and do someone's makeup and maybe I would get $30 or $50, right? I mean, if it's a wedding, you can charge $100, right?
All right.
But now you're one and done. You're one and done. I can't do your makeup for a wedding again. I'm never going to get that $100 from you ever again.
Yeah.
See?
Unless you get divorced and have to get married again.
Right. Yeah. But I'm only going to maybe get that $100 again twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where instead I could come to your house, I could do your makeup and, talk to you about skincare and just spend time with you, loving on you, making you feel the best that you can be. I don't have to charge you. I don't have to charge you a penny. Nothing. I can come and do it for free. Because guess what? There's going to be at least one product or two that you're going to want to have.
Yeah.
And then you're going to purchase that. And every time you need that red lipstick, I'm going to get paid.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think, and I truly believe, with everything that's going on, with the powers to be, and with how we've had so much overreach through institutions that have been in place, and that their decisions, you can totally see, like, it's just so in front of you. You can totally see that they are putting profits over people, and they're putting profits and corporate greed over the sanctity of human life, right? And their way of thinking even if they have all the all the trillions of dollars in the world, their way of thinking is not right, and it's lacking. And at some point, the levee is going to break.
Yeah.
And I believe right now we are at the levee's going to break. Corporate greed has gone too far that even, you could push yourself right out of a job. You know what I'm saying? You could do that with trying to take too much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then you have the real power. Well, the real power is collective buying power. The real power and the real strength belongs to the people, because the people create the wealth. Without the people, there's no wealth, right? So when we start to teach people that their power is in their pocket and in their decisions and in their self-responsibility, it flips the whole game. And we're at this point right now where the levee's going to break. The game is about like the Monopoly board, right?
Yeah.
It's being turned over because it's like this. If you're going to starve me out, you're only going to starve me out for so long. I'm going to figure out a plan how to starve you out. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can only poke the bear for so long. When you poke the bear that one time, it only is going to take that one time. When you poke the buying power, collective buying power of the collective of we the people, and you just keep poking that bear is going to rise. That bear is a sleeping giant that they don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
And that's why they got to do all these different things,
Yeah, we're kind of getting a little ahead
yeah.
of the topic right now, but
yeah.
So you start building this shop.com franchise, you're getting your name out there.
Yes.
You also are an author.
Yes.
Like, when did you get to realize you wanted to put a book together, and like how did growing growing your online business get you to a place where you made this a reality?
Right. So with shop.com and Market America, I just go to different events, right? I go to different seminars. I go to different, I'm on my phone, webinars. Matter of fact, there's a international business conference going on right now in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm supposed to be there, but instead I'm using my ticket to actually just stay at home and virtual tour the conference. And so it got to a point where just you're going to different events and you're going to different seminars and
continuing to network with
people. And it was it's only happened twice in my life. So like every 10 years, this one group puts together a Get Motivated seminar, and they travel the whole country. And it's like celebrity packed, like the business conference. Like when it comes, like you want to get to the Get Motivated seminar.
Yeah.
And they come to Cleveland because Cleveland is a powerhouse. I don't know if you even remember Cleveland Hustles. Like, that needs to be revised. Like, that needs to be restorated and
Cleveland used to be Millionaires Row and everything.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, the Rockefellers.
And it still is. We just have to remind ourselves the true potential and power and stop seeing what is just in front of us right this exact moment. Because on the other side of everything that's going on right now is a very great future. I mean, it is everything you've ever could have imagined. It's on the other side of this. And right now we just got to get to that other side.
It's like, you can manifest, being poor, or you can manifest being prosperous.
Right.
Put out that positive energy.
So I get to the Get Motivated seminar, and this was probably, it was 2016. And the first one was like 2011. So yeah, okay, so probably like what, 5 years apart. Every 5 years they come around. And it had gone from being at the Q, which is huge,
Yeah.
Our Cavs arena, to going to it was just at like the Wolfstein Center or something smaller. And I got there, and the main headliner this time was going to be Les Brown. But Les Brown wasn't able to come that exact day. And they're like, we're sorry to tell you, no, he's not able to make it today. Because I know he's older, so he has health issues. But we stood around, or we stayed long enough to hear the other speakers. And there was one speaker on there who said, he was more talking about going into public speaking. And I had already given, a public speaking speech in 2008, and knew that, to get your message out more, that's what you're going to have to go towards. So he was going to he was going to come back like a month later and do a 3-day seminar. And so I went to that, and he is a publisher. And so he was talking to us about the importance of having a book. And then he was putting on a speaker communication workshop where you would be certified in Canada the following month. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going. And I remember I had a business partner who at the time wanted to go no matter, like, more than anything in the world. But he didn't have a passport. Well, since you don't have a passport, you can't go. Like I told you, be prepared for this. Like, things are happening fast. Like, always be prepared for no matter what. Yeah. When an opportunity comes, because it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for it. Right. So I'm like, well, I'm going. Sorry, you can't. But I've been telling you, get your passport. So I go, and at the end of the 3 days in Canada, Raymond Darren says, I'm going to co-author 3 books. Come up and pitch me your book. And I remember, like, I didn't have a book, right? Matter of fact, all I had was this first little title, From Steel Toes to Stilettos. And to pitch the book, I had to tell him what the book was going to be about. And the book was going to be about my biggest tragedy and how I overcame it. Not my greatest accomplishment, but how I overcame my greatest tragedy. And so I remember he had like 10 people were all going to be pitching for this 3 spots, 3 books. And I'm like, okay, I got to pitch my story and talk about my greatest tragedy. And I just turned around from the circle and cried my eyes out. And then it got to my time, and I turned around and I wiped my tears, and I told him, and he said, wow, incredible. Of course I'll do your book. You go and tell them you're one of the 3. Wow. You're one of the 3. And I remember being, so grateful, and then being like, wow, I don't even know what this means now. Like, this changes so many things in my life. Right. You care to share what it was you shared with them? And that was the greatest tragedy in my life was my mother's suicide. And that I'm a suicide survivor. And, when he asked me, what's the title of your book, From Steel Toes to Stilettos? And he's like, and what's it about? And I said, it's about, a woman that works in the auto industry, and what it's like for a woman to work in the auto industry, and how hard it is, with your smaller stature and the heat and everything, and, the things that you go through that actually make you stronger and unstoppable. And then I found e-commerce, and that's my new career. And he said, absolutely, we, he knew the value, and so does Les Brown, because I actually got to meet Les Brown and have lunch with him and spoke directly to him about the cause. And Les Brown and Raymond Aaron both know the seriousness of suicide is ravishing our country up 300%. And so they both, God bless those men, because they've just showered me with belief and empowerment and love and graciousness, and know that I'm just, I'm like, how can I explain it? Like, like when Ariel, she first got her legs from being a mermaid, right? She's trying to walk in her legs, and they're like brand new to her. Like, that's what it's like to step into the spotlight, or, any kind of name recognition. It's, for me, I feel like a fish out of water, right? Like, I just want to be, somewhere else and just focused on everything great, and so they've actually, helped create this and help make my dreams come true. It wasn't even like a dream. Like, how can I explain it? I just never, like, we've already talked, like, never did I say, oh, I want to be an author. Never. The
opportunity was presented, and
the only thing I did was I made a promise to God. I said, God, this is so hard. This is my hardest tragedy. I've never felt so alone in this life, right? Being single and no children at that time, and just being like, just lost my mother. I just remember saying, however great this tragedy is, there's a bigger purpose and a greater victory in God's name on the other side of it. And I just got to get to that. And I don't know what it looks like, but when the time comes, God will show me what he wants me to do with this pain. And I don't know what it is at this time, but I'm going to get there. And then I got to say to Raymond, I didn't think it was going to be a book, but here it's a book.
Yeah. And you share that story in the book. And it's another way to reach people that may be going through a similar valley and inspire them with hope. I know that that's a subject that's like very near and dear to my heart too. I lost a nephew to suicide. Yes. At a young age. It devastated our family. And then being a veteran, we lose so many of our population to that. Yes. So it's definitely something I can relate to. And, but like God says, he takes all things and makes them new,
Yes.
And,
yes. He does.
Uses them for his good. And
that's right.
And
no weapons formed against us shall prosper.
Yeah. And I'm just like wondering, like, so you started through that process, putting this all together and putting this book together. These men supported you getting this out. What's been the, when it was finally all done and printed and you had the hard copy, in your hands and stuff like that, it must've been a huge weight lifted off, but at the same time, then it was just like, okay, now
what's the next?
Let's see what happens. So what's the response been to people that have, read the book?
Everyone that's read the book, I've gotten great feedback. I've had people say, I had a wonderful friend say that, it's the best book she's ever read. Now, I want to make it very clear, like, it is a really hard, like that tragedy and that little story is hard, but when you read the whole book together, like, there's so many inspirational quotes that I put in throughout the entire book, and song lyrics and things that actually are beneficial. That one of the greatest compliments that I got was a guy told me that he keeps my book on his nightstand, and he's read it fully through 3 times, but whenever he has a bad day, he just turns to, like, just a random page or maybe he knows what page, right?
Yeah.
And it helps him. And so that's what it's about. It's about like, this is a piece of me that is a friend that's beside you that can go with you anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And
and it's a piece of you can give.
Exactly.
For others to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you had people like that have been through like similar situations with losing a loved one to suicide, say, how your book has helped them?
A little bit, yeah. I think one for sure that I remember for sure. But a lot of I actually had another veteran like you. He actually said that he prayed out loud during my book. Like it was so, like, he was praying out loud. Like, so it, everybody's different, and so it just depends on how they react to different things. But no matter what, there's so much inspiration and motivational things in there that I made sure that I tried to put as much as I could.
And then how much, now you have this book out there. You're a high selling author. You kind of got like more legitimacy behind your name now.
Right.
This is a huge thing on that portfolio you talked about in the beginning, building for the makeup. Yeah. This is huge on that. How many more doors has this opened up for you now in the business world?
Well, one of my favorite opportunities that I opened up was I was being coached in the fall of last year by Les Brown himself with Power Voice, his coaching program, and also with Sharon Letcher, who is like my businesswoman crush, right? Sharon Letcher served on 2 different presidents' advisory councils for financial literacy, and she was the woman CEO of Rich Dad Poor Dad, also one of the co-authors of the book Why We Want You to Get Rich or to Be Rich. And I got to have her kind of groom me and help me, and her husband. And that was really cool too, because her husband is actually an intellectual property attorney, and not just any international property, intellectual property attorney. He is the intellectual property attorney who represented the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, wow.
Against Art Modell to keep the Browns name in Cleveland.
Sweet.
So I hang out with like secret celebrities like that. I'm all like, dude, that's so boss. That's gangster.
That is awesome.
You know what I mean? Like,
huge.
Yeah. So I like to be in little masterminds and secret, like, meetings with people like that.
And I'm glad you brought up masterminds too, because like I went through this program that introduced like masterminds and the importance of the accountability. It's like forming these groups where everybody kind of encourages each other. You tell each other what your goals you're going for, and they don't really ride you or nothing, but they just kind of hold you accountable to, are you going to do what you say you're going to do? Like how
here's how they work. And it's so amazing. You're telling your goal to someone else. Whenever it's even, even if it's a small personal goal, like, trying to give up
life to it,
trying to give up pop, right? Let's say we're not going to drink pop anymore. Wherever you're from, maybe you drink soda, right? Yeah. We drink pop in Cleveland. So when you tell someone else, I'm going to do something, it has a higher weight on it.
Yeah.
And you actually will fulfill it more. And so when you start creating these, we already have communities. I think we all can agree. We already have enough people trying to drag us down in communities in different, no matter what walk of life you're in.
Yeah.
No matter
there's always going to be
from.
Misery loves company.
Misery loves company, right? Crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
Once the crabs see one crab trying to escape the bucket, they drag that crab back down. So we already know once you leave your home, you're going to encounter someone's going to yell at you in traffic who doesn't know anything about you, right?
Yeah.
You may not, have such great time at places that the powers of be own, right? And, coffee shops and fast food places, right? So to have this community, and you know what? Small little communities, it doesn't even have to even be business related, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an app where you're all like-minded people and trying to find the truth, the best, trying to help each other, want the best for each other. Those types of communities, they don't have to be, this isn't the 1700s.
Like for me, I would relate it to kind of like, I'm in recovery. I go to AA meetings. I have a home group. I have a men's group like tonight that I attend every Friday nights. And we just help try and support each other to become, better today than we were yesterday.
Amen. Exactly. And I think, it's so needed. And that's one thing that the powers that be can't stop. You can't stop. I don't care how many, masks somebody wears. They're still, at some point, they're going to talk to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's the power of talking.
And we're not talking about mass mandates either. We're talking about the fake, the images we hide behind, right?
All of it. Exactly. Yeah. Like, you can't stop people from talking to each other. And here's the beautiful thing about talking to each other. I can't see what's in Bill Bailey's mind, right? I'm not really Superman. I don't have X-ray vision. I can't see what's in your mind, right? But if I see you in an elevator and I'm, I could ask you a question like, hey, do you like Superman? Like, I love your shirt, or just even, how about a compliment, right?
Yeah.
Give a gift. Hey, I love your shirt, Superman, right? And then you're like, yeah, I love Superman. And then I'm all like, well, Superman was from Ohio.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe we're in Chicago and we're in an elevator. And he's like, no, I didn't know that. But like, well, yeah, he was from Ohio. And so am I, and my name's so-and-so. And I'm the author of the book From Steel Toes to Stilettos, right?
Yeah.
And that conversation, okay, so then that quick interaction that I just made, let's say he goes and he purchases my book and then he reads it and it changes his life. I have a responsibility and a duty to do that because we have to. It's so needed. And so definitely pick your tribe, find your tribe, find your beginning.
Yeah, I try and tell my daughters this all the time too. It's like, look at your circle.
Yes.
Look at your circle of people that you spend time with. Yeah. What are they doing with their lives?
Right.
What goals do they have? What are they working towards?
Right.
Because that's how you're going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, so choose wisely.
You are the accumulation of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
You are the sum of them. If all 5 of your friends are millionaires, at some point you're going to be the 6th millionaire.
Oh, yeah.
If all 5 of your friends are not, are impoverished or making bad decisions or going to the bar every Friday, you're going to be the 6th person going to the bar every Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You can do that for 10 to 15 years. And then you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be like, where did 10, 15 years go? Oh, well, I went to the bar every Friday and drank mind erasers.
And that was me. I did that, unfortunately. I look back.
So did I. I'm not any better than anyone else.
But then, I can only sit there and dwell on what I did, for so long. And then I had to start saying, well, today's a new day.
That's right. That's right.
It's not too late to try and be better.
Right.
Which is another thing that kind of like connected us.
Yes.
And our friendship. And, I know like some of the projects that you're working on right now.
Yes.
Care to share with the audience some of the things that you're...
So we are growing the Real Rich Revolution. And it's going to be why I want you to get rich, all the different reasons, because I need all of us to want to prosper and help each other prosper so that we can take back our power from the powers that be. Like I said, there is no greater power than we the people, humanity. Without people, just things aren't as great, like the power of the people, the power of a conversation, the power of a meeting, the power of an opportunity all changes your life. And it could be like that. One meaning, one connection, one first impression can be the door that opens up to create something of a completely new life for you that you've never even imagined.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I'm getting more content out, and we're growing groups such as I have secret groups like The Apprentice, and we're building the Real Rich Revolution. Also, I'm on the Real Rich Revolution is on Telegram. We're building up different social medias than what normally was, because like I said, I believe that we're at a paradigm shift where the levee is going to break, and it's going to be at some point everything different. Like everything that was isn't going to be how it was, and things are going to be, the future is bright.
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. And you can reach me at RaNae360.com, and they can purchase the book or do anything from there. Connect to my different social medias. I'm going to be connecting, hopefully, the other new social medias to that platform. And we all are kind of, I believe that we're all in a position where, we're learning how to use our sea legs again, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, to kind of like take all your content and have to move to a different platform, because of different powers that be, we're taking back our power, and we're going to identify companies, products, and services that have the best interest of all of us in mind. Companies and products and services and people that are putting people and the greater good above people, and above profits over people, or the corporate greed.
Now, I saw a video that you recently did that caught my eye, because I've always been like an X-Files guy, and I seen this thing called UFO,
Yes.
In this video, but it wasn't the UFO I was thinking it was. You care to talk about that?
Yes. So I am a UFO, and I have many friends that are also UFOs. We are unfranchised owners, and that is with shop.com. It means that you're a business owner, and it's called the business itself is called an unfranchised because it's something that's never been done before. And that's why we're U.F.O.s, because it's never been done before. There's never been a shopping annuity. Rich Dad teaches the principles of how to invest and how to go from, if you ever read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad principles are, what do the rich do that the poor don't? And what can the average employee do to step into entrepreneurship, into investing, into big business for themselves and for their family? And shop.com has created the platform to do that. And it's the power of our collective buying power. And just to kind of give you an example, right, of how this all works and how we're all connected and why we have to do things this new way. Okay. Someone may watch this, right? And they may be like, wow, she, kind of knows a thing or two. She must be really smart. And, she knows this much, and she started in 2008, and here I am, it's 2021. I have to start, I don't know nothing, right? And here's what I know. In all of this, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I did, I searched for this and that. So I already kind of navigated it for you. Yeah. All I'm asking you to do is kind of take my hand and go with me. Go with me. And it's places, there's people that literally you can't take them to a ball, like you can't get, this isn't for everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember
they don't want to go.
I would see some of your pictures about going to the ball, and I was like, what's the ball? And I'm like, can I go with you? I can
the UFO ball, right?
I have other things other than my Superman, basketball jersey.
No, but I mean, and it's not that they don't want to go to the ball. And it's not that they don't want to put on a suit. It's that they don't know what it is or where they're going. And they'd rather not go somewhere they've never been.
Yeah.
That's the
fear.
Step
out of their comfort zone. Yeah.
They don't want, it's the fear that holds them back. False evidence appearing real. Well, if I go there, this might happen or this might happen. You know what?
What are they going to think about me?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Come with me. Nobody's going to hurt you. It's just entrepreneurship, right? Nobody jumps and, from back and steals anybody in entrepreneur. These are business settings. And I think that's the most beautiful thing is that these are business professionals that are, that know what it's like to walk through that first door of that first business conference or that first seminar, and nothing, but that you want to be the person on the stage, right? And so the unfranchised opportunity is something for the average person to see the other, really not just see it, but touch it, feel it, and be a part of what it's like to be a Superman, what it's like to be a UFO, what it's like to go to outer space, what's like to reach limits that you've never reached before. And I'm going to tell you, this is the most important thing. It is better to have a goal and not reach it than to not have a goal, because you'll reach it every time.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to tell you, I'm happy that today I get to sit here and say I have a book, right? But guess what? There was 2008, I didn't have a book. 2009, I didn't have a book. 2010, 2011. All those years, I sat there just like every person that's going to start today. I didn't have a book either. I walked in the door. I found people that believed in the future and in my potential more than what I had to offer them. And so I want to offer that unfranchised opportunity to anyone and everyone that I can. You can follow me on Telegram. Just go to The Real Rich Revolution and you can send me a direct message or any of the social medias. It's just RaNae, Ra, or different ones. We're adjusting them because we're going to be changing. We're going to be changing the last name because that's another part of the whole networking. Is we're growing, right?
Yeah,
we're constantly growing.
Now, you mentioned some of the goals, having it better to have goals, and you've talked about some of the goals that you've already accomplished. What kind of goals you got going forward?
Well, book number 2.
Okay.
That's my goal. That's my once I get to that book, right, everything's going to be, that was my next one. It was like, as soon as, this one was done, I got the award. I was like, okay, I get to, tell people about it and what they do. If they purchase it, they purchase it. They read it. I can't control that. I just keep going. And so book number 2 is the goal. And see, that's the whole thing is once you start to grow into entrepreneurship, your goals change.
Yeah.
Okay. And so most people would want to hear me say, oh, my goal is, once I get this Lamborghini,
yeah.
Right.
Then it's,
and I'm all like, so like when you ask me my goals, see, that's the whole thing about goals is they're personal. And the beautiful thing about it is your goals are not going to be my goals. Your dream is not going to be my dream, right? And that's okay. That's perfect. That's the beauty of, that's how God created all of us. We have our own goals. We have our own dreams. We have our own DNA and genes. And it all works. There's plenty for all of us. We just do have some selfish people, but not in the way of what they're trying to make it think that it is at this moment. But here's the thing that I have to tell everyone is that aside from just having goals, right? And our goals are all going to be different. Like my goal is to help as many people as I can in this time, and to be able to find the solution to what problems we may face as humanity in the future, and how to maybe reverse some of the bad things that have come into play. And that's why I'm on this mission. This Real Rich Revolution, my main goal with it is not monetary. It's not materialistic. Here's the thing I know. No one of us is as smart as all of us. It's just like being in this whole time that we've been in recently. You may listen to a 2-minute video from a teacher in California or a gentleman in New York who's just fed up. And you listen to the gentleman in New York who's fed up, and you talk to that teacher in California who's fed up, and they both talk different, and they both think different. Guess what? They both have great points. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take a little bit of what he said, and I'm going to take a little bit of what she said, and now I have an argument, or I have the facts to stand stronger in my side of the argument that I believe is right.
Yeah, or you have a better understanding. Like people haven't, especially with social media, it seems everybody just wants to run around with their bullhorn and get on the soapbox, but no one's listening to the other side.
Yeah.
And we need to, like you said earlier, we need to communicate more. We need to talk more. We need to use our voices. We need to use our ears as well.
Yes. Yes. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Yep.
And that's what it's about. So my next goal is for the Real Rich Revolution to become a movement that empowers and strengthens all of humanity. And then together, we're going to write another book. That's going to be book number 3, 4, 5, 7, 20, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing is, you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. And so in order for a nation to be great, the people have to be great. And so I don't know what your goal is or what your situation is, and I don't know what your start looks like. Maybe your start is you could go to my YouTube channel and find NB Factor, and maybe there's a video that I said even 5 years ago. That's your start. Maybe you're going to read a book. That's your start. Like, it's up to you to build your future. And I'm just trying to help to navigate those that I don't know. I don't know where they're starting. I don't know their situation, and it doesn't matter. Because every single one of us can bring something to the table, even if it's just saying, you don't know, but you want to be part of the Real Rich Revolution because you know that you have to spend to live. So if you're spending money anyways, why not pull your money together so that we, the people, can create the Real Rich Revolution, take back our power, right? So there's no way humanly possible in my entire lifetime that I could spend $1 trillion. There's no way. No. There's no possible way that I could spend $1 trillion. There is a possible way that I could create and make $1 trillion. I could figure that out. I could reverse engineer any business that's the top of the top, figure out how they did it, and start to, and probably even figure out a way, because now it's been 10 years, 20 years with the power of the internet. I can figure out how to do it faster and easier than they did when they first did it. Right?
Yeah.
Like the powers that be that we think are above us right now, they all still had to climb to that level. And so if they can climb to that level, we can climb to that level. And guess what? We can get there faster and quicker and better and stronger if we go together.
Amen.
And take back our power.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, like I said, there's no way that I could spend $1 trillion in my lifetime. I can find out a way to create and make $1 trillion in my lifetime. But then I'd rather take back the power of the $1 trillion with the power of the people, make all of us great, and then once we're all rich, I don't have to pay those taxes. And that's what it's really about. It's not even about how much you make. It's about keeping what you make. Yeah. Keeping what you make out from taxes.
Yeah.
And that's the hard, I think that's the mental change. If we change one thing in your brain and thinking with this podcast today, I hope it's that you know that you have the power to do that.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother topic for another episode.
Yes.
But before we get ready to wrap up, we went over a little bit about what you wanted to do, but I'm open. But let me ask you some of the questions I normally ask guests that I have on here.
Okay.
Music. Usually I'm a big music fan. I usually have a lot of musicians and stuff, that I talk to on here. So I always ask this: who's your top 3 musical artists?
Really? My top 3 musical artists?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tricky question because I love so much music, and I love music that you probably wouldn't peg me as loving, right? So I am I'm everything from, rap, hip hop, 80s music, love 80s music, right? So my top 3, I don't know if I could say a top 3 at this time, right? Because, that goes into also not just loving their music, but also loving the person that they are.
Yeah.
And
person behind it.
I think we all can agree that some of our idols that we have held, or some of our people that we love their music. They've kind of shown some true colors, and I still love their music, but not what they represent any longer. And so I have to say this though. If you asked me my top 3, I probably won't say 3, but I will say that I still forever love Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yes.
And those two, I if we could bring those back, or when I see them in heaven, I'm still going to love them.
Nice.
Michael Jackson was actually the first person I wanted to marry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was 5 years old, I remember my grandpa, he said to me, I was 5 years old, and he thought he was teasing me, right? This little whatever. He says to me, RaNae, you keep drinking that chocolate milk and you're going to turn black. And he thought he was teasing me, right? And I was like this. I was like, oh, I hope so, Grandpa, because all I want to do is marry Michael Jackson. Right?
And he must have been drinking white milk.
Exactly. Completely. And I'm telling you, I saw his face. I saw his eyes pop out. And he never teased me about drinking chocolate milk ever again. And I carried that wisdom of whoever says anything to you to know how to throw it back at them. I carried that all the way throughout my entire career, and I still have that.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, is there particular song that you feel has inspired you that you can always go back to and play? That's one of your regulars if you need that extra motivation or.
Well, I love so many of them. So many of them. So if I just had to say one song, if I had to say 3 songs right now that I absolutely love and just, it would be Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. And there's also a version of that by Mary J. Blige. I love both the versions. And I don't know, probably Thriller by Michael Jackson. And then it would have to be so many more Michael Jackson ones. Like I just love inspiration and motivation. And Michael Jackson and Prince, like they both tried to like tell us like, hey, the powers to be, they're no good.
Yeah.
If you remember, it was a doctor who actually killed Michael Jackson. Yeah. And many great others too.
Yep. And it was right around after the time they started speaking up about things that
about the powers to
powers of be didn't want them speaking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's the last book that you read, but you can't say yours?
Okay. Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
I actually was just part of the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind and the recording of a video series for Think and Grow Rich with Sharon Letcher and Greg Reed of the Secret Knock. Yeah. So we did that to create the course from October of 2020 until really the beginning of January. I think it was that it went all the way through to, or maybe before December. Yeah.
Nice. And then what's something you want to do to be better today than yesterday?
Geez, I think I would say, to be able to have every single vitamin supplementation that I want. That's on my like to have list, and to just be like, like taking all of it. Like I need to take my azotaxanthin. Like I need to be taking that every day to build my mitochondria, right? Like so I kind of like I have geek girl goals.
What's that? Damn, what was that one movie with Bradley Cooper? And he took that like vitamin that totally gave him like heightened his senses and whatever. Right. Kind of like damn, I can't remember the name of that the movie right now, but it was pretty sweet. It reminded me of like like the Nutraceuticals and the people that are biohack or whatever.
Exactly.
Taking the right stuff to make you your peak performance.
Yeah. So to kind of get back to I forgot to finish that story. So I was building a networking, and I had a doctor who's actually a bodybuilder who contacted me about shop.com in 2014. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, hey, RaNae, is this business anything that we can actually, a doctor could do? And I was all like, I'm so glad you came, Dr. Adriana, because guess what? We have a whole division just for doctors, but I know nothing about it because I'm 100% honest with you. Like, I'll tell you, I don't know something, I'll have to find out. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know nothing about it, but I know someone who does, who can help us. And so I contacted another one of my millionaire friends in Pennsylvania at the time and said to him, hey, I have a doctor who's interested in shop.com, but mainly because she needs another source of income and she wants to create her own practice. And she can't do that within the guidelines of the powers that be of her industry, which is she was a foot surgeon. And so we need to teach her the nutraceuticals, and I know nothing about it. And I'm not certified, so I actually can't even really bring her into the business. You have to make her a UFO and put her into my organization, because you have to be certified to work with doctors within shop.com to actually create, to actually recruit doctors. So her and I went together in 2014, June of 2014, to Chicago to a 3-day conference seminar. And then at the end of the 3 days, you take a test in nutraceuticals. And if you get at least 70% on that test, then you get a certification from Nutraceuticals, and you're able to work with doctors. And then you have to but you have to learn, there's like a secret way to do it, because it's not easy to get into the door past what they call the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are there to keep you out, is what they, that's the truth. It's just like with going into any business, right? Like, you're going to be the first person at the door. That's the gatekeeper. And so with doctors, it's really difficult to get past the gatekeepers, because a lot of the healthcare system doesn't even recognize nutraceuticals.
Yeah,
they're 100% pharmaceuticals. And
nutrition in general. I mean, they I think
don't.
they have like maybe an hour when they go for their doctor degree, MD.
They're not even
medical
educated
license.
in it.
Yeah,
because this is a system ushered in by the Rockefellers. Speaking of Cleveland, right? This is a system ushered in by the Rockefellers. This is how he ushered it in before you were born, and this is how it is, and it's not going to change. And these doctors know more than you, and that's it. And you're like, hold on a minute. Tide's changing. The levee's breaking. We're getting more and more doctors that are saying, hey, I don't want to be a foot surgeon anymore, because I don't want to keep going in this direction.
Yeah.
I want to have my own practice. I want to have my own. So think about this. If you're just the most amazing average American, because every American is amazing, right? It was our God-given right by the thing. And you're just sitting at home and you're like, wow, I don't even know where to start. Well, guess what? None of us ever did at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these doctors, they had to start somewhere too. And when you start to get to what their education is, their education came down from someone else who thought they were smarter than them.
Yeah, who wrote their curriculum,
and then they probably
funded their research,
and then they didn't even question anything, because can't get through college questioning the professors.
Nope.
You can't even. Right now, things are, you can't even question your own job, right? Like, that you've been doing for 22 years.
You got to rewrite the answer they want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Whether you believe it or not.
Exactly. And so it's all getting shaken up. And the cream of the crop is going to rise. And the cream of the crop, I believe, the greatest jewel that's overlooked, the diamond in a rough. The diamond. I am looking for, my goal is to look for the diamonds in the rough, and for us to shine brightly and to overturn what has already happened. Because we can't change spilled milk, right? We can't pick it back up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't drink it, right? You don't want to.
No.
But we can create new opportunities, like the unfranchised UFO opportunity, and just take the first step.
So I wanted to ask you another question that I normally ask people. Three people who've inspired you, or you can credit for making you the person you are today.
Well, I'm gonna give you the real answer, and then I'm going to give you the also answer.
Okay.
And the real answer is God, my mother, and my father. Those three. My father was hard on me, so he made me better. He pushed me to do things that I wasn't comfortable to do. He made me better. My mother, again, forced me to do things I didn't want to do, right? Made me do the hardest thing I ever had to do, and made me better for it. And God, whew, he's still working on me.
Oh, yeah. Both of us.
You know? And then if it was, you know, people outside of those three who are the most in my life and should be of everyone's, then it's going to go Raymond Darren, J.R. Reidinger, and probably Les Brown.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then here's one of my favorite questions to ask. It takes everybody back down memory lane. But what was your favorite toy as a child?
My Cabbage Patch dolls.
Cabbage Patch, yeah.
My Barbie dolls. And I can't think of what it's called right now, but it had like this special belly that I could kind of see, like, and it had like, so it was kind of like a little alien, but it was a really cute alien. I know it was an elf because I also had an elf doll. Yeah. I want to say they were called like the weasels or something, like the wuzzles. Something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Something. I'm going to have to Google it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I have to look it up.
Great question.
And then any message that you have for our military members currently serving overseas? I know we recently just have been dealing with a lot of tragedy yesterday and stuff, losing all those Marines and stuff. But, you know, they, even when this stuff's not in the news, there's people that are over, you know, in different places doing what they feel is right for us back home here.
Yeah.
And I usually like to let them know they're not forgotten.
No, not only are they not forgotten, I want to say, hurry up and get home. Like now. Hurry up, get home. You are important. We need you at home. We love you. And don't worry about just you get home, and don't worry about a job. Figure out just getting home. Like, you're more important than any job or just a single mission, right? And especially just we need them home.
Yeah.
Now. Period.
We need to gather all patriots.
I know. I wish I had a plane, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's like my mission, my goals are things like we have to have better resources for ourselves to go and do the right thing, because we, the people, the American, I'm not talking about what side, because that's done. Okay. Both sides are not doing what's right. So we, the people, the Americans, that what is already inside the average American is so important. That's the diamond in the rough. That is like every American would really do the right thing. And we just need to build the real rich revolution so that we have the resources so that we can. If me and Bill had a plane, it would be right here at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. We'd be getting on it right now. We'd be going to get our men and women, period. So we're praying that God does that at this time and bring them home now.
Amen. Well, RaNae, I'm glad we got to finally do this.
I know. I can't wait to do
conversation. It again. Yeah. Now that you are introduced to the Boondoggle virtual audience, we'll definitely have to have you back. I know we've talked about a lot of other projects we want to work on and make happen. So we'll there will be more to come, to be continued.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of our listeners, and I hope you make a great day for you and your family.
All right.